Welcome to Module 19, Lesson 1. Our I CAN statement reads, I can select and use non-standard units to measure lengths, weights, and liquid volumes. So we're going to be working on measurement here, and we're going to talk about using a non-standard unit. So as we go on to the lesson, look for that vocabulary. All right, let's take a look at problem 1. Think about the measurements you see on a yardstick. Find objects in your classroom or in your house around you that have a length of about 1 inch, 1 foot, and about 1 yard. Record your observations. If you aren't sure what a yardstick is like a longer stick that you use to measure. It's usually wood. It's about 3 feet long. Okay, so it's equal to 1 yard. So let's think about something that is about 1 inch near you. So on your desk you might have, or your table, you might have some things to do your schoolwork with. Some of those things that might be about 1 inch would be like one of those pink erasers. That'll be about 1 inch. If you have a big paper clip in front of you, that's also about 1 inch. Okay, so let's think about something that's about 1 foot long. One thing that might be about 1 foot long is the math book that you're using right now. Think about one other thing that's about the size of your math book, that's about 1 foot long. And finally, we need to decide something that's about a yard. Okay, so a yard is about 3 feet long. So think about 3 in a row. Something that's about a yard is the width of a door. Okay, see if you can find something else that might be about that size. If you're in your house, like the width of a refrigerator, depending on the size of your refrigerator, or your stove, might be about a yard. Right, so now let's answer letter A. How could you use the parts of your arm and your hand as benchmarks? So we want to think about some things that we can use just kind of to give us a guide of about how big something is. So let's think about our hand in relationship to 1 inch. The distance between the top of your thumb and that middle joint of your thumb where it bends is typically about 1 inch. So you could draw a picture of your hand here, or you can write to describe it. But this distance here is about 1 inch. So you could say the tip of your thumb to the joint of your thumb. Now 1 foot is about the distance between, get another really great picture of an arm here, your wrist and your elbow. So the distance between your wrist and where your elbow bends is about 1 foot. Okay, so we can say the distance between your wrist and elbow. Good, now let's take a look at letter B. It says, if you've walked 20 minutes, then you have likely walked about a mile. What benchmark could you use for 1 mile? So I want you to think about a distance that you walk that's about 20 minutes. So I know if I do a walk around my neighborhood, it takes me about 20 minutes. So I can say a walk around my neighborhood is about 1 mile. So think about somewhere that you might walk that takes you about 20 minutes. Or it could be somewhere that takes you 10 minutes to go to and 10 minutes to come back from. All right, and we notice our vocabulary here. A mile is a customary unit for measuring length. Okay, you probably heard this when you're driving places. This place is this many miles away. All right. So now let's take a look at number 2. Consider the objects shown and the liquid volume they can hold. Find at least one object in your classroom or around your house that would hold about 1 cup, 1 pint, 1 quart, and 1 gallon of liquid. Record your observations. So these are customary units for liquid volume. Go ahead and pause the video and write in some things that would hold the same amount of liquid. All right, so some of my ideas were a juice carton for about a cup, a water bottle for about a pint, a vase for about a quart, and a bucket for about a gallon. Number 3 asks us to consider the objects shown and their weights. We want to find at least one object in your classroom or around you that would weigh about 1 ounce, 1 pound, or 1 ton. Okay, so we're looking for weight, which is the heaviness of an object. These are some of the customary measurements for weight. So looking around, what is about the weight of a key, about the weight of a notebook, and about the weight of a car? Pause the video and write your answers. Some of the things I came up with were a penny for 1 ounce, a pair of shoes for about a pound, and for about 1 ton, I thought about all the students in my classroom. So now let's answer letter A. What foods could you use as benchmarks to describe ounces and pounds? Now, if we're thinking about an ounce, that's a pretty light thing that we're picking up. So an ounce, you might think about as a slice of bread. So a slice of bread is about 1 ounce. So if we're keeping with the theme of bread, if we have a loaf of bread, it's made of a bunch of slices, that is about 1 pound. So we need to answer, what animal do you think weighs about a ton? So think about something that weighs about the same as a car. The animal I'm going to go with is a horse.